Hey, hey. Oh, what day is it? I think it's Tuesday, May the 3rd. And, it's about midday. Starting to heat up. So Uncle Johnny's is still sort of... Right, it's an iconic AT hiker hostel. You come down onto the road and it's right there. And yeah, we get in. And God damn it. Sorry, little toes, a bit sore. Little toes, actually. I had to emery board and kind of use my knife on it. Get rid of some dead skin. But I won't bother you with that too much. So we get into Uncle Johnny's and Rawhide's there. So Rawhide, I thought he was behind us, which he was. Well, a little bit, but he's there with a cast on his foot because he broke his foot. No, he was ahead of us because he got in first. He walked all the way in there with a broken foot. Down from the Smokies. Tripped on a route just after Klingman's Dome. Or same route I've tripped on. So while I've had this right knee problem since then, just extending my knee sideways, so it's pulled the muscle a little bit on the left side of it, which gives me a little bit of discomfort, but nothing too bad. He's walking with a broken foot. But Rawhide, what a legend. He's I'll let him explain it. Rawhide's been taking care of us because broken foot. He's slightly off trail, only for a short time.
Yep.
But Rawhide, he's you tell him you're sponsored all that. And
my sponsors are Mission 22 for suicide awareness of veterans and PTSD awareness for veterans.
Goddamn right.
Cool.
All right. Talk to you later.
See you later.
So there you are. And PTSD is close to my heart because I had a home invasion 8 or 9 years ago. A blood-covered, knife-wielding maniac burst into my house on a Thursday afternoon. And had this strange kind of 12-15 minutes of thinking I was going to be killed because he was ex-military, built like the brick house. And he was, with 3 knives like that. When you see somebody fighting with a knife like this, they know what they're doing if they're trying to stab you like that. They don't know what they're doing. As if that helps you when you're being attacked by somebody with a knife. Oh, he's inexperienced. Alright, so the guy didn't attack me because if he did, I'd be dead. Like, he picked up a massive 3-seater leather couch that used to take 4 of us to shift. Picked up in one arm to throw it at. He thought he was being chased by gunmen, so he was having his own freak out. And so yeah, I ended up with PTSD in therapy for a year. When I was in college, I went back to college in my 40s to do music. And the pressure of college bounced it all up, and I had a collapse. And did a year of therapy, which was amazing. And my therapist, if you're watching it there, love you, man. The amount of abuse I gave you, poor boy. So, and I said to the head psychologist in college, the first meeting I had, was like, I didn't, that sort of, I didn't go to war or anything. I was like, no big deal. I'm just sitting in my house. This happens, then it's all grand again. When the cops arrived and pulled him out. And the hero cop, Barry Purcell. This guy, ninja, flings himself over a wall, which was like up to him. He's standing there, flings himself over like a ninja, pulls out his baton midair, flicks it open as he's landing, smashes your man on the wrist. This is after my housemate Lindsay, hey Lindsay, had got out of the house because she was in the shower while the guy's like breaking up our crap in the house. So once I got her out of the house, I was like, yeah, I can get out of here now. That was just as the cops arrived. And then Barry clocks him, backhands him in the back of the knee. Me and him grabbed the guy, and we were trying to get cuffs on him. And then he was just lifted away from us because 8 detectives showed up and just body slammed him. And then we had that under control. There's a Lithuanian girl in the garden flat next door that the guy bounced off her door on the way down. He jumped out his own window on the first floor, bounced off her door, jumped over our wall, and ran through a locked door, essentially. I don't know how he did that, because the door wasn't even bust. It's still locked afterwards, but it was a patio door on the soft lock, so I guess that's how to break into a patio door, just run through it. So I end up, it all calms down, and Barry turns to me, and I'm like, "You alright, man?" He looks me up and down and goes, "Are you alright?" And I look down, I'm covered in blood. But it was the guy's blood. And one patch on my hand, tiny scratch, and it was the one part of me exposed skin that actually didn't have any blood on it. So I very, very, very carefully washed myself down. And yeah, that still sort of curdles me a little bit. But PTSD, it's like you feel like a hunted animal. It's like everything, your whole existence becomes this. You know, you're like a small rodent in an exposed field with like all the big birds of the world circling around. It's a fear of something that already happened. And so as my psychologist explained, it's like, you know, the level of safety for me trucked along, bounced up extremely, and then came back down. So it snapped the kind of the channels, I suppose, the nerve channels in my brain, and changed how my brain worked, and my brain would be full of then adrenaline and cortisol. And like, that was a bit of a, you know, adrenaline would get me going through a lot of the work I do, gigs. And I was a courier back in the day and things like this. So I definitely had to redress my relationship with adrenaline, because too much of it during the period I was really struggling with PTSD would really trip me out. Like, just, you know. But I avoided a lot of things, and the one thing we were talking about, me and Apple's, she being a psychology major and all, the other day, she asked me what was the most helpful thing or most kind of, you know, impressive thing. As well, therapy really worked. And I was lucky because I had a really good therapist. We got on, you know, we just worked together very well, and he was able to push me. And I guess after my first probably conflicting emotions about the whole thing, I was happy to be pushed. But the most impressive thing was when you come out of a stage, like, you feel better, you realise how bad you were before, like really, really, really struggling. But it's impressive how the brain can trick you into thinking you're alright during the time, so you actually function as a human being. Yeah, mostly. And definitely some interpersonal relationships would have struggled to deal with me in that period, probably as well, because I couldn't put a good face on it because of that sort of, you know, brain save and exercise. You know, I don't realise how bad I am, so maybe I didn't realise how bad I was to others. Definitely Dan Daly, you poor boy. Dan moved in. Well, the way Lindsay moved out as well was messy as well. We were both struggling to figure out what the hell was going on. And then Dan moves in, but on the first day, Dan grabs a kitchen knife and like made a threatening motion to me, and it was just like, nah, this ain't going to work. Sorry, Daniel. So, Rawhide, sponsored by, whatever he said. Sorry, Rawhide, the brain disappears sometimes. So PTSD and all that for veterans, and the ATs, I think, like, there's a lot of ex-army people here. Yeah, I guess it's the John Rambo roaming the streets kind of thing. At least you can just roam up here and come away from it, but Also, they were talking about saying, well, it's because it's the toughest one, we like doing it. So there's the 3 major trails in the United States, which are called the Triple Crown. The Appalachian Trail, the AT, the Pacific Crest Trail, the PCT, and the Continental Divide Trail, the CDT. So the other 2 are longer, they're closer, or if even 3,000 miles. They're Mexico to Canada borders. One on sort of like in California on the west side of the Rockies, one on New Mexico, Wyoming, and up the right side of the Rockies, pretty much. But they're much longer, but the average length of time to do them in is a month shorter. So the average, the AT is 6 months, the other 2 are 5 months. But possibly because people tend to do the AT if they don't have experience, and you start off doing 8-10 miles and then you build up to doing 15, 17s, 20s, yada yada. And the other ones, you have to start with more miles in you because you're in the desert and you need to get to water. So there's probably multi-levels, but you know, the people who've done the 3 say this one, well, possibly the less spectacular, because the other one goes up like massive mountain ranges, and you know, I'd definitely like to do some of them. Whereas this one, just rolling up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, is tougher, they say. You climb Everest 16 times, the equivalent height, doing the Appalachian Trail. So Rawhide took really good care of us in Uncle Johnny's. And Uncle Johnny's is a funny little mix of everybody, because you know, when you hit town, you can, oh, you're here, and oh, we just missed them, and Grandmaster and his pa, St. Patrick, Paddy, they just told me I had the most massive, amazing salad as soon as I get in. It was great to see you all, and Paddy, I'll see you back in Europe. I'll have to catch up. It was a pleasure knowing you. So, there's a couple of guys at the fire. We're hanging out. No disrespect at all, but, well, probably. So, mover, you know. So he's like, tell him how many miles you've done. He's like, I have 37,000 miles. So, you know, I had a name. My name's known. My name's Mover. Gonna go to Trail Days and raise hell. Trail Days being a 3-day festival happening next week. Thing is, Mover looks like Will Ferrell. So I'm like, Will Ferrell's out on trail in character, just, you know. Anyway, I had to amuse myself. And Uncle Johnny's is at the edge of urban Tennessee, which all the other Americans are like, yeah, strange place. These little picture-perfect homes. And then, you know, a couple of trailer things, and a few people had some trouble with people. There's that shot of a guy walking across the forecourt, and I think in the last video, that was this cowboy guy, like his big lasso rope on his hip, and, you know, carrying his whatever. I saw him a couple of times, but apparently he was harassing hikers. So in Tennessee, as Georgia and North Carolina, and, you know, plenty of Tennessee folks, very supportive of what we're doing, like, to the point of ridiculously amazing. I mean, that church cookout, we happen to make it the one day in the year they do it. And, I mean, I just got so much stuff, I barely bought anything for resupply. Between the hiker box, everybody buys a bit too much, leaves a bit. Thing is, I got electrolytes, which I was wondering why somebody left them. They're the worst flavour in the world. They're disgusting. But yeah, the Tennessee Church of Zion. Anyhow, I didn't go. They pick you up if you want to go to the service, and then they pick you up if you don't later on. So of course, but then one of them goes, "Can you pray with me? Would you like to pray with me?" So of course I bowed my head, and he prayed for me, and, you know, JC watched my back and all that, which is all really, really nice. Amen to that. But other Tennesseans have a thing that the national park stole the land off people who actually lived here, which true be that, as far as I know. So it's that anti-federal government thing you get in the United States of what did the federal government do? They just come in and annoy us locals, stop letting us do what we want to do. And you have this thing about the national park being for the enjoyment of everybody. But if you're going to move people out of their homes, it's like T-Hug's grandmama who's moved into a town, and then you just like living in some town, as good or bad as they can be, when your life is in the woods. But urban as well, it's like, they build these spread out places in America. So I couldn't really figure out where a town centre was. Not that I went really in, I just flew in a couple of times. The Mexican diner beside the garage. Which was good eating. And then we ate so much. And when you eat so much, it's hard to resupply because you're stuffed. So you can't imagine how hungry you'll ever be again. And then you walk a few miles and you're hungry again. But we've got like resupply in a day or two, and then a day or two or something like that. Don't know when the next 5 days kind of journey is going to be. I ain't looking too far ahead. Oh, there. Jesus. Talking for a long time this morning. I'll talk to you less later.